The battlefield was silent now. Smoke rose from broken machines, burnt trees, and the bodies of soldiers, both alien and human. The war had moved on, but not everyone had survived. Under a piece of fallen metal, half covered in dust and ash, a young alien girl lay still. Her skin was pale blue, her long hair matted with blood and dirt. She was barely breathing. Her name was Vera, and she had been left behind. She opened one eye slowly. Her body ached. Her people, the Therics, had retreated. No one came back for her, not even her own squad. They thought she was dead. Vera was only 16 cycles old, a trainee. She had begged not to be sent into battle, but no one listened. Now they had forgotten her, buried under the weight of war. Footsteps crunched in the ash. Nearby. She froze. Was it a scavenger? A soldier? Another enemy? She could hear heavy breathing and slow, limping steps. A shadow moved closer. A figure appeared. Through the smoke, a human, wearing dark armor and dragging a rifle behind him. His helmet was cracked. Blood ran down one side of his face. He looked tired, worn, broken. He moved carefully, scanning the wreckage. Vera's heart pounded. If he finds me, he'll shoot me. Humans hate Therics. I must stay still, but then she coughed. Just a small sound. Human stopped. He turned his head slowly toward the metal sheet. He heard her. He came closer, lowered his rifle, and dropped to one knee. His voice was quiet. Hey, someone there? Vera squeezed her eyes shut. Maybe he would go away, but the human didn't leave. He carefully lifted the metal off her with a grunt and stared in shock. A child? Vera opened her eyes. She stared back, shaking, too weak to run. The human didn't raise his gun. Instead, he reached into his pouch and pulled out a small water bottle. Here, he said softly. You look like you need this. Vera blinked, confused. No gunfire. No shouting, just water? She tried to lift her hand, but her arm fell back to the ground. The human gently placed the bottle to her lips and tilted it. Cool water ran down her throat. She coughed again, but drank. Better? He asked. She nodded weakly. He looked over her injuries. Her leg was swollen, her ribs bruised. You're hurt bad, he said. We need to get you out of here. Why? Help me? Vera asked, her voice rough and dry. The human paused. He took off his jacket and wrapped it around her small body, because no one should be left behind. Not like this. Vera didn't know what to say. She had been called an enemy, a freak, a danger. But this human... He looked at her like she was just a girl. He lifted her carefully into his arms. She groaned in pain, but didn't resist. Suddenly, a voice crackled in his earpiece. Sergeant Ray, do you copy? He pressed a finger to his ear. This is Ray. Status? I'm moving through Sector 9. Wounded enemy units. No hostiles. Copy. Regroup with the squad. Now. Ray looked down at Vera in his arms. Her eyes were half closed, her face pale. He took a deep breath. I'm not coming back, he said into the cum. What? Repeat that, Ray. I found someone. A child. Therics. I'm taking her to safety. You're what? She's the enemy. Leave her. Ray turned off the cum. He looked into Vera's eyes. They're not coming back for you. And now, I'm not going back to them. She blinked, confused again. Why? He walked forward through the smoke, carrying her like a child. Because once, a soldier left my sister behind. She didn't survive. I won't make that mistake. Again, the wind blew cold across the battlefield. Behind them, the fires still burned. Ahead, only trees and shadows. Ray didn't care. He would protect her, even if the whole world stood against them. It was the first time Vera had ever seen stars from a tree line. She was lying on a soft bed of moss, wrapped in a human soldier's jacket, and above her, between the broken branches, was the night sky. Cold wind brushed her face. Her body still ached, but for once, She wasn't afraid, not yet. The man who carried her from the battlefield, Sergeant Ray, was crouched nearby, building a fire with shaking hands. He had taken off his armor and wrapped his wounded leg in cloth. Blood still soaked his pant leg, but he didn't complain. Vera watched him quietly. She didn't understand. Why hadn't he left her behind? Why was he still here? Ray looked over at her. Their eyes met. "You're awake," he said softly. She gave a small nod. Her voice was hoarse. "Why didn't you leave me?" Ray didn't answer right away. He poked the fire, staring into the flames like they held secrets. Finally, he said, "Do you know what a promise is?" Vera frowned. "A human word?" "Yeah," he smiled, "just a little. It means when you tell someone you'll do something, no matter what, and you keep your word, always." She stared. "You made a promise to me?" Ray shook his head. "I made one a long time ago. To someone else, but I couldn't keep it. I was too late." He leaned back against a tree, his voice tired. "She was just a kid, like you, my little sister. War took her too. No one helped her, not even me. I was too busy following orders." Vera stayed quiet. There was pain in his voice, deep and real. Ray looked at her again. "So now, maybe this time, I can do something right." She shifted under the jacket. "But I'm not your kind. I don't care." She blinked. That was the first time anyone had ever said those words to her. "I don't care if you're Therex or human or part robot," Ray added. "You were crying under a pile of junk, and I couldn't walk away again." Silence fell between them. Vera closed her eyes. Warmth from the fire touched her face. The jacket smelled like metal and smoke, but also safety. She whispered, "Thank you." Ray didn't say anything. He just stared at the stars. The next morning, Vera woke to the sound of soft humming. Ray was cooking something over the fire, a small packet of rations mixed with herbs he'd found in the forest. She sat up slowly. "Where are we?" "Abandoned storage outpost," he said, pointing to the half-broken walls around them. "We're a few clicks outside enemy lines. Should be safe for now." Vera looked around nervously. "Will your people come for us?" Ray shrugged. "They'll come for me, but they don't know I'm with you. And they don't care enough to search this far." She pulled the jacket tighter around herself. "They'll kill me if they find us," Ray nodded. "Not if I have anything to say about it." His voice was calm, but there was steel in it. Later that day, Vera tried to stand, but her injured leg buckled. Ray caught her before she hit the ground. "You're not ready yet," he said. "I have to get strong," she muttered. "I don't want to slow you down." "You're not slowing me down," he said firmly. "You're why I'm still moving." She looked at him strangely. "You don't talk like the other humans." Ray smiled. "That's probably why I don't have many friends." That evening, Ray cleaned her wound with a pain-suppressant gel. Vera winced, but didn't pull away. "I used to be afraid of your kind," he said as he worked. "They told us you were all monsters. They told us humans eat Therex hearts." She replied softly. Ray laughed once, surprised. "Guess we've both been lied to." She smiled for the first time. Just a little. Night returned. The fire crackled. Shadows danced on the walls. Vera leaned against the tree beside him, wrapped in his jacket. She was quiet for a long time. Then she said, "You saved me." "That makes you my bond lifekeeper." Ray raised an eyebrow. "You're what, in Therex culture, if someone saves your life? They are tied to you. You share fate. You protect each other." Ray chuckled. "Sounds like a promise." She nodded. Yes. She said, "Now I promise too." He looked at her seriously. "Then we watch each other's backs." She held out her small hand. Ray shook it. Suddenly, a red light blinked on the side of the building. Ray jumped to his feet. "What is it?" Vera asked, heart racing. He didn't answer. The light blinked again, then began flashing fast. A soft Beep echoed in the forest. Ray's face darkened. Someone's found us. A red light blinked on the metal wall. It wasn't a star. It wasn't friendly. It was a tracker. Ray's heart dropped. The moment he saw it, the blinking was slow, then faster. Like it was counting down. He grabbed Vera and whispered, "No time to talk. We move now." Vera's eyes widened. "What is it?" Ray slung his rifle over his shoulder and picked up his pack. A scout drone dropped a signal marker. "They know someone's here." "Therex?" "No," Ray said grimly. "Humans." The forest was dark and full of whispers, leaves shaking, dry twigs cracking under boots. Ray moved quickly but carefully, holding Vera's hand as they pushed through the underbrush. She limped, her face pale from pain, but said nothing. Her breathing was shaky. Her leg was still weak. Ray stopped beside a tree and pulled mud from the ground. "Rub this on your arms and face. It hides body heat." She did as told, watching him closely. He smeared mud across his neck and whispered, "Heat drones are coming. We need to vanish." Above them, the night sky blinked. 3 red dots floated across the dark clouds. Drones. Their hum was low and cold. Deadly. They crawled into a dry ditch, barely covered by leaves and stones. Ray lay still, pressing Vera's small body close to the cold earth. "Don't move," he whispered. The hum grew louder. One of the drones stopped directly above them. It scanned. The light beam passed right over their ditch. Vera held her breath. Her fingers trembled. She had never felt so close to death. Ray slowly reached toward his rifle, just in case, but then the hum moved away. The drone passed over. They stayed frozen for 5 more minutes. Then Ray whispered, "We're clear." They moved again, this time deeper into the forest. Vera's legs finally gave out. She collapsed near a fallen log. "I can't. I'm sorry," she said softly. Ray knelt beside her. "No apologies. You've done more than enough." He looked around. "No shelter. No time." Then Vera pulled something from her pocket, a tiny silver disc. "I have a trick," she said. Ray raised an eyebrow. "What kind of trick?" "This," she whispered, activating it. The disc blinked blue and gave off a low-frequency hum. "It's a etheric sound jammer. Makes drones hear echoes far away." Ray smiled. "Now that's clever." He helped her up. "Let's use your trick and give them the runaround." Minutes later, 2 human scout drones veered hard to the left, following a fake sound trail. Deep into the mountains. Ray and Vera watched from under a thick tree root. "You're more than just a girl," Ray said, impressed. She smiled weakly. "I was training to be a peacekeeper before they forced me into battle." Ray looked at her, surprised. "Peacekeeper?" She nodded. "My job was supposed to be talking, saving lives, not ending them." Ray looked away, jaw tight. "They ruined a lot of lives in this war. Yours, mine." Later, they found an old cave half covered in vines. Ray checked it quickly. "Looks clear." He helped Vera inside and set her down gently. He started a small fire with a heat rock. No smoke, no light, just warmth. Vera leaned against the wall, her head resting on her knees. "I don't understand," she said. Ray looked up. "Understand? What? You had a chance to kill me many times, but you didn't. Even now, you keep saving me." Ray paused, then said quietly, "Because if I don't protect what's innocent, then what kind of soldier am I?" Vera was quiet for a while. Then she whispered, "Do all humans think like you?" Ray laughed bitterly. "No, that's why I'm hiding in a cave instead of marching with them." She looked into his eyes. "You're not like the others," he shrugged. "Maybe I'm just tired of war." She looked down. "Me too." Just then, a sharp mechanical screech echoed outside the cave. Ray froze. Another. Screech closer. Vera's eyes widened. "That's not human tech," she said. Ray grabbed his rifle. "What is it?" he asked. Vera's voice shook. "A bounty tracker, not from Earth. Someone else is hunting us now. The cave should have been silent, but something outside was clicking. Not footsteps, not drones. Click. Click, click. Like sharp claws tapping against stone. Ray held his breath, finger on the trigger of his rifle. Beside him, Vera's breathing slowed. She didn't blink. She whispered, "That's not human. That's a bounty tracker." Ray frowned. "Therex tech?" "No," she said. "Worse, it's from the black markets, hunters who buy signals. They don't ask who you are. They just want your body alive or dead." Ray gritted his teeth. "How do we stop it?" Vera looked at him and said, "We don't fight it. We trick it." Outside the cave, a tall figure walked slowly on 4 insect-like legs. Its body was black metal. Its eyes glowed red. It scanned the ground, reading footprints, body heat, sound. It sniffed the air, tracking the faint signal from Vera's rescue. "Beacon." Inside, Ray whispered, "How far can it smell?" Vera whispered back, "If we don't do something, it'll find us in minutes." Ray nodded. "All right. You said you can trick it?" She reached into her coat and pulled out a tiny red ball. It hummed softly. "This is a pulse decoy. If I throw it far enough, it will copy my scent, heat, and signal for 5 minutes. Ray looked at the entrance. "That's our window." He helped her crawl closer. The clicking outside was louder now. Ray peeked outside and saw the creature. "Just beyond the trees, on my count," he said. "Wait," Vera said suddenly. She took out another device around. Glassy stone with veins inside. "What's that?" Ray asked. "A Therex blinder. It flashes once, burns sensors." "But it only works once." Ray smirked. "Better than nothing." They moved fast. Ray tossed the decoy deep into the trees. The creature paused, lifted its head, then turned sharply toward the false signal. It took the bait. They waited only 5 seconds. "Now," Vera said. She rolled the blinder stone toward the cave entrance. A second later, boom. A flash of blue light exploded, followed by a loud mechanical scream. The tracker's sensors burned out. Ray pulled Vera to her feet, and they ran through the trees, through vines, away from the cave. After half an hour of running and hiding, they found shelter in a hollow log. Ray fell back, breathing hard. Vera dropped beside him, shaking. "You okay?" Ray asked. She nodded slowly. "It worked," Ray smiled. "Alien tricks. Pretty useful." She gave a tired smile back. "And human guts. Pretty brave." They shared a moment, quiet and strange. Ray broke it with a chuckle. "You know, I didn't expect to be running from death with an alien girl this week," Vera smirked. "I didn't expect to be saved by one of my enemies." Night fell again. Built a new fire deep in the woods. Ray cleaned the wound on Vera's leg. It was healing slowly. "You've done this before?" Vera asked. "Field medic training," Ray said. "Didn't think I'd need it for anyone but humans." She looked at him, "But you didn't hesitate." "No," he said, tying the bandage. "You needed help. Doesn't matter where you're from." She looked at the stars. "I used to think humans were cruel." He looked at her. "And now?" She glanced at him. "You're different." The fire cracked. Ray asked, "That tracker, will it come back?" Vera nodded. "If it repairs itself, it always does, so we keep moving." She looked down. "I'll slow you down." Ray touched her shoulder. "You're not slowing me down," he said. "You're the reason I'm still going." Suddenly, Vera grabbed his arm. "What's wrong?" Ray asked. Her eyes were wide. She whispered, "I just remembered something. That tracker, it doesn't stop, it doesn't quit. And it has my DNA now." Ray's face hardened. "So it'll follow us forever?" She nodded slowly. "Unless we find its core and destroy it. But to do that, we have to go back." Ray stood up. "Then we go back." The forest was quiet again, but not in a peaceful way. It was the kind of quiet that warned. "Someone is watching." Ray felt it first, that cold feeling crawling up his back. Vera felt it next. Her skin tingled. Her breathing stopped for half a second. She whispered, "It's here." But it wasn't the tracker. No mechanical clicking. No glowing red lights. This time, the enemy walked like a man. He stepped from the shadows, a tall alien in a black cloak. His face was half covered by a metal mask. One glowing green eye, the other long scar. A plasma whip dangled at his side, and behind him walked two small, floating droids scanning everything. Ray raised his rifle immediately. The bounty hunter didn't flinch. "Easy, human," the stranger said in a smooth, cold voice. "You don't want to play hero right now." Vera stepped in front of Ray. "His name is Karen. I've seen him before, in Therak's prisons. He sells lives like coins." Ray kept his weapon up. "What do you want?" Karen's voice was calm, even amused. "Simple. I want the girl. There's a fat reward for her. Enough to buy a planet. You, on the other hand, are free to go." Ray narrowed his eyes. "Not happening," Karen shrugged. "Then die protecting something that isn't even yours." Before anyone could blink, the two droids fired stun blasts. Ray jumped in front of Vera, taking the first hit in the side. He dropped to one knee but fired back, hitting one of the droids and blowing it apart. The second droid spun, ready to fire again. Vera threw a rock, hitting the sensor perfectly. Ray rolled to the side and shot it. "Down." Karen clapped slowly. "Impressive. But this is where it ends." He flicked his wrist, and the plasma whip snapped to life-burning blue, hissing like fire. The fight was fast, brutal. Karen charged at Ray, whip cracking through the trees. Ray blocked with his rifle, sparks flying as metal met energy. He fought hard, but he was still injured and tired. The whip slashed across his chest, sending him crashing to the ground. Vera screamed, "Stop it." Karen turned toward her. "You're worth more alive," he said. "But dead works too." Vera stepped back, her hand shaking. Then she did something Ray didn't expect. She stood tall and spoke, in her native tongue. Karen paused. His eye twitched. "What did you say?" He growled. She repeated the words, louder, a challenge code, one used by old Therak's royalty. You're one of them?" Karen asked in shock. Ray groaned from the ground. "What's going on?" Vera whispered. "I'm not just a soldier. My blood is royal. That's why the bounty's so high." Ray stared at her in disbelief. Karen laughed. "Even better. I'll get triple the price now." But Vera didn't. Run. Instead, she reached into her pouch and pulled out a glowing stone, a signal breaker. She smashed it on the ground. The air shook with energy. Karen's cums went dead. His whip powered down. "What?" he shouted. Ray didn't wait. With all his strength, he tackled Karen to the ground, grabbing the plasma whip and swinging it, burning into the hunter's shoulder. Karen howled in pain. "Now!" Ray yelled. Vera grabbed the fallen blaster and fired. Karen fell backward, unconscious. The forest went quiet again. Ray fell to his knees, breathing hard. Vera rushed to him. "You're bleeding." "I'm fine," he muttered. Double quotes. "No, you're not," she said, pulling off his jacket and pressing a cloth to his wound. "Your royalty?" he asked, groaning. She nodded slowly. "I was supposed to be a peace leader, but when war came, they hid my identity. My own people used me as bait." Ray looked at her in silence. "You don't have to stay with me now," she said, eyes low. "You've already done too much." He grabbed her hand gently. "I didn't save you because of who you are. I saved you because no one else would." Suddenly, a low rumble echoed through the forest floor. They looked up. Ships. 3 Therak's war. Shuttles descending. Ray's grip tightened on his rifle. Vera whispered, "They've come for me." Ray asked, "To rescue you?" She looked at him. "No," she said. "To silence me." Vera had always been told to run. When she was young, hide if humans come. When she was older, stay silent, obey, survive. And when she was thrown into war, don't fight, just follow. But now, as the sound of 3 Therex war shuttles shook the trees, and the wind ripped through the forest like knives, she didn't run. This time she stood. Ray sat against a tree, breathing hard. Blood soaked his side, his jacket was torn, and his face was pale, but his eyes still sharp. Watched Vera as she gripped his rifle. "You need to leave," he said weakly. "Hide while you can." Vera didn't look away from the sky. "No," she said. "They came to silence me. Not this time." Ray tried to rise. "You can't face them alone." She turned to him, eyes glowing not with fear but with fire. "I'm not alone. You taught me that." Ray stared at her for a moment, then smiled, even through the pain. The warships hovered above the treetops now. One by one, they landed. The ground shook. Black-armored Therex soldiers stepped out, dozens of them. They held plasma rifles, moved like shadows, and surrounded the clearing. In the center, a tall woman in silver armor stepped forward. Her face was cold, sharp, cruel. "Princess Vera," the woman called out, her voice echoing. "You are to return with us immediately. You are not authorized to travel with this human creature." Vera stepped out of the shadows, her chin. "Hi, I'm not a child anymore. And I'm not going anywhere with murderers." Gasps rippled through the soldiers. Ray blinked in shock. "She's your?" Vera nodded. "That woman is General Thisa. She was supposed to protect me. Instead, she used me as bait to start the war." General Thisa's eyes narrowed. "You speak too freely, child." "I speak because he saved me," Vera said, pointing to Ray. "When you left me to die, he carried me through fire." "General." Thisa raised her hand. "Take the human. End this foolishness." 2 soldiers stepped forward. Vera raised the rifle. "You touch him, I shoot." The soldiers paused. "You won't shoot your own people," Thisa said coldly. "I will." Vera said, "Because the moment you chose war, you stopped being my people." The silence that followed was heavy. Then a voice from the back of the Therex troops. "She's right." Another voice. "I saw what you did, General. You left her behind." One by one, Therex soldiers lowered their weapons. General Thisa screamed, "You fools, she's a child." Ray stood up beside Vera, leaning on a branch. "She's not a child," he said. "She's braver than any of us." Thisa snarled and raised her weapon at Vera. Vera didn't flinch. She aimed straight back. "Toof!" Soldiers moved forward and grabbed Thisa by the arms. "No more." One said. Vera slowly lowered her rifle. It was over. Later, as the soldiers packed up and Thisa was taken away, Ray sat beside Vera near the fire again. "You were incredible," he said. "I was afraid," she replied softly. "But you didn't. Let fear control you." She looked at him. "I never wanted to be royalty. I never wanted to lead." Ray smiled. "Leaders don't always choose the role. Sometimes they just do the right thing. When no one else will." Vera looked at the stars again. "Like you." He looked up too. "No, like you, Vera." Suddenly, a communicator buzzed from the wrist of one Therex soldier. "Alert from orbit." The voice said, "Unknown ship approaching fast. Weapons hot." "It's not Therex, not human. Something else." Ray stood quickly. Vera's smile faded. Ray whispered, "This fight isn't over." It was supposed to be over. The enemy was captured. The army had lowered their weapons. Vera had stood tall. Ray had survived, but the sky had other plans. High above the forest, the clouds turned red. Not from sunset, but from fire. A massive shadow dropped through the atmosphere, dark, wide, and silent. Bigger than any ship they had seen before. It wasn't Tar-Ix. It wasn't human. And it wasn't friendly. Ray stepped forward, rifle in hand. Vera stood beside him, her face pale but firm. "What is it?" Ray asked. Vera stared at the growing shape in the sky. It's a Reaver ship, Ray blinked. You mean the ones from the outer systems? The ones that eat planets? Vera nodded slowly. They collect DNA. They hunt species after wars. Easy. Targets. Ray looked around. And we just gave them a beacon. The Therex ships on the ground buzzed with alerts. Panic began to spread. Some soldiers ran for cover. Others looked to Vera. She closed her eyes, took a breath, and stepped forward. Listen. To me. She shouted. Her voice echoed through the trees. Everyone froze. If we run, they'll wipe us out. If we fight apart, we'll die. She turned to Ray. But if we fight together, human and Therex, maybe we have a chance. Ray nodded. I'm with you. She looked at the soldiers. All of you. Right now, I don't care what species you are. I care who's brave enough to stand. A silence. Then one soldier raised his weapon. For Vera. Another shouted. For peace. Ray smirked. Not bad, princess. She looked at him. I'm not a princess right now. He asked, then. What are you? She grinned. A fighter. The Reaver ship landed with a terrifying crunch, ripping trees from the ground as steel legs slammed into the earth. Its mouth opened. Dozens of creatures spilled out, black, fast, four-legged things. With metal claws and glowing eyes, Ray gripped his rifle. Here we go. Vera activated a plasma shield on her arm, something Ray had never seen before. You always had that? He asked. Only used for people worth protecting. She replied. The battle began. The Therex and humans, now fighting side by side, opened. Fire. Ray covered Vera's back while she blocked blasts and returned fire with deadly accuracy. 1. Reaver leaped at Ray. Vera slammed it mid-air with a plasma blast. Ray looked at her. Nice shot, you owe me dinner. She shouted back. Ray grinned. If we live, you pick the place. Hours passed like minutes. Bodies fell. The ground burned. The forest was no longer silent. Finally, Vera looked up at the towering Reaver ship. The core's inside, she said. If we destroy it, they'll shut down. Ray nodded. Then let's finish this. They ran together, firing, dodging, sliding into the open mouth of the ship. Inside, it was worse. Dark walls covered in alien slime. Machines that pulsed like hearts. At the center, a glowing red orb. The core. Ray aimed. This it? Vera nodded. Shoot it. Ray fired once, twice, nothing. They've locked it, Vera said. Only biological access can override it. Ray looked at her. She stepped forward, placed her hand on the orb. It lit up, recognized her DNA, and began to pulse faster. She turned to Ray. Once I trigger it, you have 60 seconds to get out. Ray's eyes widened. No, we're leaving together, she smiled. You saved me when I was nothing. Now it's my turn. She pressed her palm. The ship shook. Ray grabbed her wrist. We do this together, Vera. She stared at him. Then nodded. Together. They ran. Fire exploded behind them. The Reaver ship began collapsing from inside. They jumped just as the entrance blew apart. Ray hit the ground hard, rolling over Vera to protect her from the blast. Then silence. The ship was gone. So were the Reavers. The war was truly over. Later, at a healing camp, Ray lay on a bed as Vera sat beside him. Her hair was cleaned. Her wounds were wrapped. Her eyes were no longer scared. Ray whispered, So, what now, princess? She laughed. No more titles. What then? She reached out and took his hand. I want to help rebuild, with both worlds, and maybe. He smiled, and maybe? She looked at him softly. Stay close to the one person who never gave up on me. Ray squeezed her hand. I was never leaving anyway.